So I think.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
So yeah, hello everybody. Good afternoon, or good evening almost at this point, and thank you for joining. And above all, thanks Supreme Landy and everybody here on the team for hosting us here today. So to start off, who am I? Right? My name is Thiago Ferreira. Probably picked up from the name that I'm from Brazil. Right? I am an AI educator and automation expert. And I founded my company, Elevate AI Consulting, about a year ago. They've been in business now. And I do have my little QR code there. They'll take you to my website in case you guys want to connect, and add me on LinkedIn as well. I will have it back up at the end, along with the list of all the different AI tools we're going to use today. And if anybody wants a copy of the slides, I'm happy to share with you. Just let me know at the end, or you take a business card and send me an email, and I'll share it with you, along with the recording as well. So you guys can have everything that we see here today. And what are we going to be covering today? First, what is AI and how does it work? Why it's growing so fast, right? A lot of people are now using AI. Most people, believe it or not, by now have used at least ChatGPT or another tool similar to that. So, like, what is it, right? How does it even work? What is it doing? So I'll break it down for you in simple terms that we can understand and even maybe explain and share the knowledge with others. And I'll do some demonstrations of some AI tools and some ways that we all can use AI on our personal life and on our business lives as well. And different tools, free tools that you all can use for your business and for your personal life. And we'll talk a little bit about the future. What are the trends that I'm seeing out there, and really what's next? What are the risks? And what are the opportunities? So to start off, I always like to make a unique slide for each meeting. So we're going to create our own AI image right now. And I'm going to add it right here to this deck. And what we're going to do is maybe you will go around and we're going to complete a sentence. So the AI is going to make whatever sentence we come up with here. So there's risk, right? But there's also reward. So maybe we'll start here with you. So what is our custom picture going to be about? Is it a person? Is it an object? Is it a person? Okay, and so who is that person?
Oh my goodness.
No one famous, because it won't do that because of copyright issues.
Okay,
But it can be a character, a superhero.
Oh, okay. The Easter Bunny. I know that's not a person.
Okay, no, that works. Are you okay with that, with the Easter Bunny?
Yes, I want to see that. Yeah.
The Easter Bunny. Okay, so what's the Easter Bunny doing?
Driving on highway.
Driving, okay. Driving on the highway. Maybe back there. Where is this highway that the Easter Bunny is driving? Is he here in Miami? Is it
In Miami.
in Miami?
Close to a lake.
Close to a lake. Wow, okay. In Miami. Or in Miami Lakes. Should we just make it Miami Lakes? No.
Yeah.
We'll just do it close to a lake. Close to a lake. And maybe for the last one here, do you want this to be a cartoon style image? Do you want it to be like super realistic, black and white?
A cartoon.
Cartoon. Cartoon style. And maybe we can add one more thing to this picture. Is it the
Male or
morning? What is it?
Male or female?
Male or female? The bunny?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you're going to see that in this photo. This is a family-friendly event. But maybe what time of the day is it? Is it golden hour, like for sunset, or is it the morning? Is it dawn? Golden hour? Okay, you okay with that?
Sorry, I was asking about
The lighting is golden hour. And there we go. And let's see what our little image creator is going to come up with for our presentation.
Oh, wow. Looks like a Miami bunny.
It looks like a Miami bunny. And it gave us options, right? So which one do you guys prefer? This is going to be our photo on record for today, yeah? This one, or this one? This one? All right, there you go. So it's already, this is our unique photo for our presentation today. That's an image generator, and we'll talk a little bit about how that works. And I wanted to show you some video generation that I did as well. We're not going to do it live because the video takes a little bit longer, but I can show you some of the things that I've done. So this is my dog flying away. Just, the bottle exploding. One here for another brand called High Seltzer for their birthday post, just cakeifying their product box. And these, I just did it, as you can see, same outfit. I was across the street at Sagrado Cafe a few minutes ago. And there you go. So all that done within. Oh. So within just a couple of clicks and a prompt, these are some of the things you can create, right? And of course, these are short, a few second clips, but you can create entire movies, or even Coca-Cola released a commercial recently where it was all AI generated, right? So that's really the direction that these are going. And I'll show you one more because we'll talk about. Come on in, yes, welcome. And so we will talk about deepfakes a little later. Deepfakes, what those are is when you make a video of someone, making them do something, and that is not a real video, right? An AI-generated video. And those are happening a lot. Those are super concerning, especially during political season, right? Because you can create a video of the president or whoever else doing something that they didn't actually do, right? And so I deepfaked myself for your entertainment. And what I actually did here is a few things. It's a video generator, but I also created a synthetic of my voice. So I recorded a 15-second audio of my voice. And with that, I can make this video say anything I want in my voice. So for your entertainment, what I did was I deepfaked myself singing Anaconda.
Don't.
So that is just from a photo, obviously, right? Oh, that's enough. So that's just from this photo that I have up on my website with a prompt and a 15-second clip of my voice. I was able to, hey, come on in. I was able to create, as I said, a synthetic of my voice and that video that obviously the quality, you can tell that it's fake, right? But if I spend a few more minutes editing it, you could send it to my mom and she would believe it. You know what I mean? So very, very powerful tools that are at our disposal. And so two things that I hear a lot about AI on my day-to-day, two different perspectives on two different ranges. Number one is that AI is just fancy autocomplete, which I think it's an interesting perspective because there's a lot more than just autocomplete, right? And a lot of other people say, I just don't understand it. I don't really know what I can use it for. I don't know how it works. And so that's my hope, to be able to demystify, there you go, a little bit that for you all today. So to start, what is artificial intelligence, right? So AI refers to computer systems designed to mimic human intelligence, learning from data to make decisions and predictions. So, and I have some words underlined and bolded there because those are important, right? We talk about AI, artificial intelligence, but it's not actual intelligence, so to speak. It's trained to mimic us. So it's just copying what we do based on data that it was given, and then it's making predictions. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. So every time you have an input, you create a prompt on AI, that's what it's doing. It's mimicking what it thinks another human being would reply, and it's making predictions every step of the way. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit. And AI is already everywhere, right? As we know, from Netflix and Spotify, the recommendations that you get, to Siri and Alexa that are slowly getting more AI features, to fraud detection in banking, and so on and so on and so on. And what I think is interesting about this AI revolution is that throughout history, when there is a big technological change, usually it's also a changing of the guards, right? You see new companies rise up and take the place of old companies, and that's the way it's always kind of been. But that's not what's happening right now. The people behind AI are the biggest companies in the world. It's Google, it's Amazon, it's Microsoft, it's Meta. And even when you hear about a company called OpenAI, who's the one that owns ChatGPT, when you look under the hood, it's actually 50% owned by Microsoft, 49%, I believe, to be exact. So, you talk about Gemini, you're talking about Google, right? Anthropic, you're talking about Amazon. So it may look like things are changing, but not really. We're still dealing with Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and the same people that we've been dealing with already for 2 decades, right? Since the internet and social media. Not a changing of the guard here. It's more of the same. And really the reason is that these systems are so expensive to train that these are the only people that can really afford to do it. And so that is what's going on in that world. But how does it actually work? Has anybody here watched The Price is Right? No, probably not, because everybody here is at work during the day, right? So, but you've probably seen it, right? Drew Carey, what's behind, the door or whatever. So they sometimes play this game, and it's called the Plinko board. For those that have not seen it or don't know how it works, essentially we have our contestant here, and she will drop a ball at the top. That's essentially the input, right? And along the entire way, there are these little pegs, right? And I'll show you a photo where you can see it a little better. Along the entire way, there's pegs. Every time the ball hits a peg, it can go left or right. And then it goes down, hits the next peg, left or right. Going all the way, as you can see here, in a random order, right? Because every time it can go either left or right. And then it lands where, at the final destination. That, in the world of statistics and mathematics, is called a random walk, right? And with a random walk, at the end, you end up with a normal distribution. If you drop enough balls, statistically, eventually they will end up on a nice bell curve the way that they land, right? So you might look at this picture and think, oh, wow, The Price is Right is so nice. They put the $10,000 right in the middle, right, where most of the balls land. They're great, but they actually also put the zeros like right around there, right? So really, the house never loses. But what does it have to do with AI? When you make an input into ChatGPT or any other large language model or AI tool, it's like you're dropping the ball on top of the Plinko board. And along every step of the way, there are decision points. Those decision points are either words or parts of words. So if you think of the word thinking, right, that's really the word think plus ing. So it's 2 parts. So along every step of the way, along every one of those pegs, on our Plinko board, the ball can go left or right. With AI, it can go in about 70 million different directions. And then it gets to the next word, and it can go in 70 million different directions again to determine what's the next word. And it does that on every single one of those words that you're getting back as an output. Along the way, it's making a prediction, as we talked about in the beginning, right? AI is mimicking us, and it's making predictions along the way. So when AI gives you a phrase like this, it made a decision here, 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 until it gets to where we are now, and it will decide what's the next word. The best thing about AI is its ability to, based on all the information that it has gathered on the internet, most of the times, the next word on the sentence will be learn, the next one will be predict, the next one will be make, depending on what the user asked, right? And so that's really what makes a difference between Gemini from Google or ChatGPT, is the way that they calibrate it to make it more creative or not. So like, it's not always giving you the top probability word, right? Because otherwise we would get the same answer every time. It's mixing it up, it's programmed in different ways. However, all of these options would be valid for that, right? So that's what it's doing. Essentially, it hits the peg, scans to make the decision in 70 million different directions, and then it makes the next decision and the next decision and the next decision. So that is really all that it's doing in the back end, is just probability. It's a game of math, right? So that's why I say it's not actually intelligence, it's just mimicking what we do as humans, right? And we can think about it a different way as well, right? If we think about every word or every letter in our vocabulary, and in every language and vocabulary that has ever been recorded by humans, every single one of those, if we picture it as a star in the universe, we can picture a network where every single one of those stars is connected to each other. And so when AI is giving you an answer, it's really just looking for the best path between that network of stars that can give you the best output at the end. So that's really all that it's doing. It's not intelligence, so to speak. It's a game of probability and mimicking, as I said in the beginning. So that's how it works. That's the magic. And for images, it works very much the same way, because images and colors and pixels can also be turned into mathematical equations. So for many, many years now, we have all been training AI systems without knowing. Every time you go to log in on a website and it gives you the little CAPTCHA thing, right? And it says, what are these letters? Or it says, click on every bus or every motorcycle or every that you see in the photos, right? And you're doing that. And what we're doing is training AI models. We're telling AI, this is a bus, this is a cat, this is a street sign, this is a whatever, right? The things that we're clicking on. And so for years and years and years, we've been working for free. So there you go. And at the end, with image generation, it works very much the same as I said with the words. It is relying on the data that we've been giving it with those CAPTCHAs to identify what things are, turning them into mathematical equations, and then putting all those pixels and mathematical equations together to create super fun pictures like our bunny driving in Miami, right? So yeah, this is everything that I just said. So our little CAPTCHA, right? You can, what's a cat, what's a dog in a tutu, right? And with that is able to, from the same beginning of noise, of nothingness here in the middle, depending on the prompt that the user gives, the AI can turn that into a dog, a bowl of fruit, an artist sketch, or an interpretation of Starry Night, right? Just depending on the prompt, you can go that many different ways. So if we connect all these things that I just mentioned, right? Our Plinko board that we saw at the beginning, a Plinko board like the one that we saw has 144 pegs, so 144 decision points, which means that for that Plinko board, there are 65,000 possible paths. That's why it's a perfect game for The Price is Right, because they can do it every single day, and it'll always be exciting because the ball will always follow a different path, right? With language models, like we were talking about, ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., there are over 1,700,000,000,000,000 possible paths that the AI is calculating every time you enter a prompt and you expect a response. And with image generators, it's actually a little bit less, about 860 billion, because there's only so many colors and pixels, right? And so, whereas with words, we have many different languages, many different letters, many different words, many different sounds. So there's just more paths. So if we think about all those things together, right, like how it works, all the power that it takes behind the scenes to make it work, right? We can kind of start to understand what's going on right now in the news, right? With all these companies, NVIDIA and many others being super valuable because they are the only ones that can provide this kind of power, right? And so where did it come from? Some people may be surprised to know that it actually came from gaming. That's where it all started. So for gaming, since the early 2000s, late 90s, if anyone here ever had like a PlayStation or PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, those have what are called GPUs in them, graphic processing units. And those were just getting more and more advanced, right, to actually render these 3D worlds, video game worlds, getting more and more advanced over the years until AI researchers realized that those super powerful graphics chips could also be used to train artificial intelligence. And so that's where it all kind of started. They started doing the research, things got more powerful, and then it just really took off. Right? So that's why, as I was mentioning, if we combine all those things, right, like how does AI work? Like all the computing power, all the different trillions of calculations that are being done times billions of people on Earth, right? Like more than 2 billion people already using AI across the globe. That's why it needs so much computing power, right? And it's super impressive how fast you get a response back, right? You type it in ChatGPT, boom, like it gives it to you right there. And so that explains, for example, what's going on with NVIDIA that we hear about on the news probably like every day, right? So as I mentioned, early 2000s is when it was launched. So you can see here on this graph, steady, right? No problem. Like NVIDIA just doing their thing, selling chips for the PlayStation and Nintendo and Xbox or whatever. And then something happened in 2020. Not the pandemic, but that also happened in 2020. Crypto, right? Crypto became super popular. If you guys remember, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take everybody back to 2020. I know it's very triggering, right? But that was when crypto first started taking off, right? Everybody started talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000, 200,000, whatever. And we can see that here in NVIDIA's stock price. And then things kind of leveled off. If you guys remember, crypto, everybody kind of stopped talking about it. Things kind of leveled. And then sometime at the middle, towards the end of 2023, is when ChatGPT was released. And then we can see here what happened to the stock, right? So going from, less than $50, what is this, like $40 or something, all the way up to $104, which was when I took this screenshot yesterday. So they're definitely the leaders. They are still dominating. And people continue to bet on NVIDIA because it can take up to 10 years to set up one of these chip factories. So Google's building them, Facebook's building them, everybody's building them, but no one's catching up anytime soon because it's so labor intensive and so complicated to fully set up that it's going to take a while. So this is not investment advice. I don't know what's going to happen with NVIDIA stock, right? But it kind of helps us understand why we're seeing all these stocks go up. Facebook, right? Microsoft, Meta, everybody. It's really because of that touch of AI. And it's not just in technology, right? Every sector, as we've seen, is using AI. So as we talked about before in consumer tech, Spotify, Netflix, Samsung, Zoom, right, with the AI note takers and things like that. Retail, like now when you go to Walmart, Target, so many of these on their websites or even in store are applying AI to their operations, to their logistics, to their distribution, just making everything more efficient. Food and beverage, we were talking about this before. You can expect to go to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or wherever within the next couple of years. The person taking your order at the drive-thru is not going to be a person, is an AI. And this already exists. There's already locations where this is happening. No longer people working in the drive-thru. And of course, with banking and finance as well, with fraud detection, and investing advice, and so many different tools that it's been used in the world of finance. And many more, right? You can name an industry, any industry, and they're being affected by AI right now, and the leaders are thinking, how do we apply this to our business? So, all right, now we get to see how do we actually use some of these tools. I have a framework that I like to use. So whenever you're prompting, whenever you're asking for something for ChatGPT, that you need it to be a little bit more personalized to you, this is the framework that I use. So, and I always like to tell people, don't assume that ChatGPT knows what you want, right? Tell it what you want. Tell it who you are so it can give you the best response, right? So you give it a pre-existing conditions. So you tell it, hey, like this is what's, this is the setting, this is the context for what I'm asking you, right? Then you give it the role. Like, do you want the ChatGPT to act as a doctor? Do you want it to act as a travel planner? What is it that you want that ChatGPT that you're talking to be a specialist at? And then you give it explicit instructions, like tell it exactly what you want. So don't assume. It's like I was telling them before, it's like all of us at home with our partners or our significant others, right? Like sometimes we assume that they live in our heads and they know exactly what we're thinking, right? It's not that. Like, and you have to tell ChatGPT also the same thing. Tell it as much. The more information that you can give it, the better the response that you get is going to be. Then you give it the parameters. So you say, I want you to give me this. I want you to give me this in an email summary format, or I want you to give me in an Excel file. I want you to give me an Excel formula. I want you to give me an outline for PowerPoint slides. Tell it exactly what is the output that you want. And my favorite part, tell ChatGPT to ask you questions. So if it's something that you really want a lot of detail in, tell ChatGPT, hey, before you give me an answer, let me know if there's anything, any other information that you need to give me the best answer. And I usually tell it, ask me 2 or 3 questions that you think are relevant for you to give me the best answer. And we're going to test this out right now with ChatGPT, right? Because you can really use ChatGPT for millions of different use cases, content creation, legal and financial work, for your business or personal life, as a study partner. One of my friends, the people that I work with, was telling me that they take photos of their sons. He takes photos of his son's homework when his son needs help because he doesn't know how to solve the math problems, right? So he just takes a photo and tells ChatGPT, tell me how to explain this math problem to my son. And then he goes and explains it to his son, and he looks super smart, right? So his son is like, wow, my dad knows everything. And you can use it for life and wellness and to plan and organize as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a few different tools here. First, we're going to use Perplexity. Perplexity is another tool very much like ChatGPT. The reason that I like it is because it's a lot better at giving you the sources of where it's getting the information. And then it also, I'll show you now, prompts you after it gives you the answer, has some links at the bottom. Hey, if you want to keep going and exploring this more, click here, and you can see different sources and keep going on your research. So for this example, we're going to create a meal plan for me. So we're going to use our framework, right? The pre-existing condition. I'm a male in my late 30s. I'm 6 feet tall, and I weigh about 160. The role. I want you to be an expert nutritionist, aware of the latest health trends and studies. The explicit instructions. Make me a meal plan to bulk. I'm going to gain 10 pounds of muscle. And we'll see if that happens, right? For the parameters, what is it that I want from ChatGPT? Give me a meal plan with suggestions for every meal over a week, along with a shopping list for every ingredient on that meal plan. And for the ask, I put ask me up to 3 questions or more information that you want to know. And let's see. Well, let's see what it's gonna ask us, right? Suspense. There you go. So it's asking me my current activity level. We'll just make this quick. 5 days a week. Food preferences. Let's just make it really difficult. And I'm going to say that I'm a vegetarian and gluten-free. Good luck with that, Perplexity. Timeline. What's my time frame for gaining 10 pounds? By summer. I want to be looking good for the summer. So that's what I'm going to say. By summer. So you can see that those questions that it asked me are super relevant for the answers that it's going to give me, right? Because I forgot to tell it that I'm a vegetarian and I'm gluten-free, right? So if I didn't tell it, hey, ask me questions, it would just give me probably a really good meal plan, but it's not really customized for me, right? Or it doesn't know my height and weight. It's not going to make the best meal plan for me. So now it knows my height, it knows my weight, it knows my preferences, it knows how often I work out. And let's see the type of meal plan that it's going to give me. See, this is why I like Perplexity. It kind of walks you through what it's doing, where it's getting the information from. It takes a little bit more time to do the search, which sometimes is a little annoying, but for whatever reason, it makes me more comfortable, right? It's like a little psychological trick, right? Like, oh, this actually searching. So here you go. It gave me the structure of my meal plan. So breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, post-workout shake, dinner, and evening snack. It gave me all those for every single day. They want, along with a shopping list that I can just take to the supermarket and follow the meal plan with exactly the ingredients that I need to buy. So using that type of framework, obviously we get much, much better responses, right? And one thing I want to clarify, I don't expect everybody to use this framework every single time you make a request from ChatGPT, right? But when it's those times where you need something a little bit more personalized with a little bit more detail, it's a good idea to follow a framework, or at least remember what is it that you're doing, right? Like give it the instructions, like tell it that you want with the format they want. So just adapt it to your needs, but also for those times where you're just asking it a quick question that doesn't really matter, right? Just ask it. Like I don't expect you to follow this entire framework for every request. So just adapt it to your needs. Now, on the business side, this time we're going to use Gemini. Gemini is a tool just like ChatGPT, but from Google. And one of the things that Gemini has is a feature called deep research, which ChatGPT also has. So deep research is for when you really need like a report done, or like real, like actual research on a subject, right? So I do this all the time for my business. Like I'm researching the market, I'm researching new strategies. And in this case, what you're seeing here is a prompt that I used for this workshop today to find me leads to invite to this workshop. So as you can see here, I'm hosting an AI workshop for small business owners in Coral Gables, and I would like to invite relevant business professionals. And then from there, you go into details, the target size, 1 to 50 employees is what I put in, the location, right around this address, the type of businesses, so mortgage brokers, real estate agencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in this case, I wanted a spreadsheet with different columns. So I specified, I want the business name, I want the name of the decision maker, I want their email address, I want their phone number, I want the type of business and their website if it's available. And then with some additional instructions, prioritize owner emails instead of other emails that may be found online. Ensure the business is currently open, because I don't want it to just give me a bunch of closed down businesses. And prioritize businesses with an online presence. So whether the business needs to have a website or a LinkedIn or an Instagram page, and that just kind of helps me validate that it's still an actual business. And I asked it, give me exactly 50 results. And I do this every few days in different addresses for like my business and my cold emailing and stuff. Every few days, give me 50 businesses, I put in a different address. But this one I did it specifically for this workshop. The thing with the deep research, is that it can take up to 10 or 15 minutes to give you a reply, because it's really doing a deep research. And in fact, at the end, it'll tell you, I checked over 1,000 different sources, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to enter this one, and we can see it at the end of the workshop if anybody's interested. But I can show you from when I ran this on ChatGPT what the result was. And maybe some of you are here today because you got my email. I don't know. But you can see a very concise business name, decision maker, their email, phone number, address, business type, exactly everything that I asked for, website and social media. And those are all relevant businesses here in the area. I did this a few times for this workshop, got their emails, added them to a mailing list, and invited people, right? And this can be done, obviously, for many different business purposes, right? Like for generating leads, for example, for those who need. And you can think of just many more ways that you can use this deep research to do maybe some insights on your competition. You know what I mean? It's one of the ways that I've seen people use it, or just some research about the industry that you're in and the market, or even maybe some suggestions on how to grow within a specific industry and you want very detailed report. The deep research feature on both ChatGPT and Gemini are both amazing. So this is the answer that I got from that prompt, right? And like I said, towards the end, we can, if anybody's interested, just come over. We can compare how this list compares to the one that Gemini is going to give us that we just asked for. And there you go, star search. So we'll leave that one working. Close this. So those are just two ideas, right? Like the ways that you can use the framework and different AI tools in your personal life and in your business life. Here are some of my favorite tools that I use. Number one is Otter AI, which I use in all my meetings. So this is a free meeting note taker and transcriber. So imagine, every time you have a Zoom meeting, an online meeting, right away when you hang up, like 2 minutes later, you have a full summary of your meeting in your email that you can just send it as a recap to everybody in the meeting. So I remember in my previous job, I would spend 30, 45 minutes sometimes writing an email recap. Now this is done for us, right? ChatGPT and Gemini are some of my favorites, as we just saw. And this tool that I'm using right now for the presentation is called Gamma. And this is an AI presentation maker. And you can literally, and I'll show you. We're going to create a new presentation right now with AI. And what should our presentation be about? Anybody want to know anything specifically or present something? Okay, we'll just make it about AI. What is it? Motorcycle. Okay, this is a presentation about motorcycles. 5 slides. How they work. Top brands. Cost. Is it top models? Okay. And this tool, you can actually use it to create presentations within seconds, web pages, documents, or social media posts as well. So in this case, Gamma. I will show you. So essentially just with that prompt, I wanted to generate the public. This is going to be for people interested in learning about motorcycles, so you can be more specific with AI, who is the target audience for this presentation. The tone of voice that it should use, is it informative, is it accessible, is it professional? And if you wanted to create AI images or not. And with that, we're just going to choose a theme, it can be any. There you go.
Wow.
Just like that, you have your full presentation. All you have to do is go back and obviously edit, right, and review, and add. And you can also, edit images, create new AI images. But yeah, so within a minute, we have this entire presentation done, right? So extremely impressive. I usually, for my business, I would put in a little bit more information than that, right? So like I would put an outline of the slides. Okay, what I actually do is I talk to ChatGPT first. I say, hey, this is what I'm creating, right? I use my little prompt, and ChatGPT and I go back and forth. So, hey, what are you creating? What is the presentation about? Okay, do research about this, do research about that, look this up. And then at the end, I tell ChatGPT, give me an outline for 5 slides that I'm going to create on Gamma. And ChatGPT will give me the 5 slides outline. I'll copy paste it into Gamma, and the presentation is done. I just have to edit the details. So extremely impressive tool. Again, another free tool. Within limits, the free plan lets you has a limit of how many slides you can create. But then, the plan that I pay for is like $10 a month. It's probably like the best $10 that I spend every month, right? Because I also think about my previous job, right? I was in sales. Every time I'd have to go meet a distributor, right? And like make a presentation. Right? I would spend hours, like sometimes weeks, like for my big like annual meetings, I would spend weeks preparing these presentations. You know what I mean? Aligning everything and making sure and like all the information is there. Like I copy this graph from here. So extremely, extremely powerful, save you a ton of time at work. And again, free tool that when you combine it with Otter and ChatGPT, for example, imagine for your meeting just finished, you copy that summary, you ask ChatGPT for the 5-slide outline or however many, and then you paste it into Gamma. And within like 5 minutes, you have a presentation about the meeting that you just had that you can also send to the people that need to receive it. So that's to me the fun part, like combining different tools with each other and using them together. It makes it just extra powerful, right, and extra efficient.
Why is Perplexity not on there, on your favorites?
I know why. Because I actually pay for Perplexity. It is free, but I will say the free. So I pay for Perplexity because I like it. But if you compare the free version of ChatGPT and the free version of Perplexity, the free version of ChatGPT is just better, right? So these are just some recommendations for the free ones. And automations, right? Like so many different businesses are doing automations, and in fact, that's my bread and butter. I am on one end doing corporate education and training, so events like this, and on the other end, creating automations for businesses. So think of pretty much anything that you do on your job that is repetitive, copy paste, right? Like you receive an email, you have to copy that information into a contract, and then you have to create an event in your calendar, and then you have to write a follow-up email. But all of that can be automated. So I put some examples here. So automate writing proposals, for example, extracting data from invoices that you receive in your email, and like automatically opening up a QuickBooks account for the customer, for example, or Wave, or whichever software that you're using. Automatically taking orders from your Shopify if you're selling products, and saving them in an Excel and like sending a Slack notification to your team, like, hey, new order received. Creating receipts in QuickBooks from just a new line on an Excel sheet. Creating smart pages, monitoring social media posts and replying automatically. So if your brand has a lot of followers and you want to be interacting with them, we can automate that as well. If you're working with Power BI as well in your business, pretty much any software now that companies are working with, when you add AI in between, they can talk to each other and the task can be fully automated from beginning to end. So super, super interesting stuff, and like significant time and money savings on that as well. And just for everybody's information, some of the other AI services that my business provides as well include custom landing pages, chatbots, like internal and external. So a lot of the chatbots that we see now are usually for external customers, right? But I've created some internal one for companies. So imagine you can upload all your company information into a chatbot about human resources, for example. So now every time I need to know, hey, like how many PTO days do I have? Or like what's my copay on my insurance plan from the company? Or hey, who is the market manager for this other state? All that information is there, and every employee can just ask a question and have the answer right away without having to look up all the documents, and everything is already in there. So lead generation is a big one that businesses are interested in, lead enrichment as well. So I know a lot of people have websites like me, for example, where you just have contact us, right? Enter your first and last name and your email. That's all the information that you get. I have an automation, for example, that within 1 minute of that person filling out their contact information on your website, you have a full report on their LinkedIn profile, who they are, what they like, so that when you pick up the phone to call that lead back, you're ahead of the game, right? Because it's like you're talking to somebody that you already know. So, and by the way, with leads, what the research says that if you don't get back to the lead within 5 minutes, your chances of closing that sale go down by 60%. So within 5 minutes, if you can pick up the phone, call that person, say, hey, you filled out your information on my website, how can I help you? You're 60% more likely than if you wait 5 minutes while you're researching that company, that page, who that person is, and then call them. They probably already called someone else, right? Because when people have the intent to purchase, they want an answer right away. They call your business, you didn't answer, they'll call the next, right? So lead generation is super important. And then for business operations, workflow automations for invoicing and CRMs, and AI-powered documentation analysis and generation. So really, like, if you can imagine it, it can be built now, custom for your business with this specific software that you're currently using. So without changing the workflows that you already have or the software stack that you're using. And to finish up, we do have to talk about where is AI going and what are the risks. Hallucinations are when AI just starts saying random stuff. This happened to me the other day. I was using AI actually to build a website and to code something, and it started saying this stuff like really crazy religious stuff out of nowhere. It was like, yeah, it was funny. It said something like, you can stay away from sin if you imagine your future girlfriend or something like that. I was like, what? Like, you really don't know me, right? Like, so sometimes AI can generate false information, but it looks super convincing, right? And that's because a lot of the information that's online is fake news. I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can put lies on the internet. It's crazy. Not everything there is true. And so AI can sometimes get confused, and it presents that information, regurgitate it, as if it was real when it's all fake. This happened recently. I saw it on the news with a lawyer. He was working on a case for an airline, and he asked ChatGPT to generate, he asked ChatGPT, hey, what are the precedents for this case that I can use, with the judge? And ChatGPT just made up a bunch of different cases. So it was like China Air versus whoever, like Delta versus whoever. And this lawyer didn't check, submitted everything like that. And like when he got in front of the judge, the result of everything is in the end he lost his, was disbarred for doing that. So definitely check, don't trust. Copyright. Yes, go ahead. You can.
I was actually going to ask that because as you were saying, I imagine some of the prompts, it could just give you whatever's out there, and whatever's out there could not be factual information.
Right.
Is there a way for you to say, can you fact check this against certain sources or exclude certain sources or maybe from sources from this year, especially if you're looking for like more current information, like how do you...
So everything that you just said, you can just ask, right? So you will tell ChatGPT, hey, I want information from this year to this year, right? Or after it gives you the answer, you can say, hey, what were your sources? You know what I mean? Or if there's a specific part that you're unsure of, you can ask it, hey, this part, where did you find this? Or like, get me more information on this so I can confirm it. So you can always ask. Like I was having one of the workshops recently, and somebody asked me, hey, like, how do I know if it's a real person on the phone with me or if it's a AI? I was like, just ask. You know what I mean? And you can literally ask, you'd be like, are you a robot? And sometimes they'll be like, yes, I'm an AI automated system, or sometimes it's a real person. And they're like, no, dude, like I'm a real person, And so you just never know.
I got a question as well. What is the possibility of ChatGPT generating the same type of presentation or same type of letter for the exact same question that 5 or 10 people around the world, for example, will have?
So very low that it's going to be exactly the same, but teachers and professors are seeing this all the time, right? Like they get all the papers from their students. They're all slightly different, but with the same ideas, right? And like, where did these 50 students get this idea from? You know what I mean? It was all written by ChatGPT, right? And so teachers are seeing this a lot. When it comes to copyright, major concern, right? Like especially for artists, number one, but any kind of artist, right? Like visual, writing. These guys are basically stealing all the information, right? They've stolen all the information, actually, and they want to keep doing it. And I was telling these guys when they arrived a couple weeks, I want to say about a month ago, it was on the news that the heads of Google and Meta, and I think it was those two, and Microsoft as well, they presented President Trump with an AI roadmap plan and some requests. One of the requests that they put in there was for President Trump to sign an executive order exempting AI from copyright laws. You saw this, right?
No, but it makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense, right? Because these guys are thieves.
They're too deep, so now they're looking for a way out.
So now they're looking for a way out, and they want to make sure that they can keep doing it. They're not happy with the fact that they already stole everything. They want to keep stealing everything that we put out. And so they want not to go through Congress, not to go through the Senate, not to go through the courts. Just President Trump sign an executive order saying that all work is exempt from copyright law. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But those are the concerns. We don't know what's going to happen with that yet. There's a lot of different cases in different courts around the country. So TBD where that's going to take us, but that's what's going on. Major concern. And then deepfakes, as we talked about. You saw that I deepfaked myself. You all probably remember when ChatGPT, maybe a couple months after it came out, there was like these pictures of the Pope looking like he was wearing Gucci. Wait, we can look this up. Deepfake. I don't know if he was wearing Gucci or something like that. Oh, yeah. So people really thought like, damn, like the Pope, like looking Gucci, right? But then here you go. You could see where the images were fake. So this is pointing out like the shadows don't match. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just like small. It's such tiny details that you have to look for to realize if an image is real or not. But in fact, these were all fake. Right? So deepfakes are a major concern, as we said in the beginning, especially during political seasons, right? And the reason that they're such a major concern, if you've all seen this, once something goes viral online, it's viral. And if it's fake news, by the time it gets debunked, a small percentage of the people who saw the fake news are going to see the debunking saying that it was fake news. So then it's just out there, and everybody's thinking it was real. And so that's one of the big issues with deepfake. Sometimes it's just too slow, or like it doesn't reach people, and people continue to think that that's real. Like probably a lot of people that saw this Pope photo a couple of years ago still think the Pope was wearing, is it Gucci? I don't remember, but yeah, whatever the brand is, they still think he was doing that, right? So in the near future, so those are the risks of AI today, right? Those are here, those are happening. We need to be aware of them. In the near future, obviously, job displacement is a big one, right? Everybody's wondering, like, what's going to happen to all the jobs? In entry levels of different professions is where I'm seeing the most erosion right now. So people are not hiring maybe that assistant or, the intern, right? Like those entry-level jobs that can be easily automated are going fast. And mid-manager level jobs also probably next. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that can, like I said, I can think of my previous job, corporate job, and all the different things that I did that took me so much time that I could now do with AI. And so it kind of makes you think, what are the things that I can do as a human that AI will never be able to replace, right? Like it's an exercise that everybody has to think about right now. Privacy erosion, and this we've already been dealing with for a long time, right? Like ever since social media, facial recognition, like all of our information being online, hackers, personal data, all that is just bound to get more and more complicated, especially as AI now getting added into CCTV cameras, right? Like on the street and things like that with facial recognition. What happens to everybody's privacy, right? Like nobody can, already we can't go anywhere without everybody knowing, right? Because we carry our phones in our pockets. But that's only bound to get worse. Autonomous weapons, extremely scary, but these are already being developed. And they raise a lot of ethical questions, right? Like if a weapon, an AI-controlled weapon, kills a human, who committed the murder, right? Is it the maker of the machine, of the weapon? Is it the person that sent it there to do that? Is it the machine that actually made the decision in the moment? Who's liable here, right? And do we really want killing machines out there? You know what I mean? Like, but it's happening. In Ukraine and in many different wars happening right now, there are drones already with AI and many different weapon systems. And something that we've been dealing with already for a long time, and it's only getting worse, and I predict that in the near future it's going to get worse, is that algorithmic bias. As we talked about in the beginning, this is not a changing of the guards. It's still the same white men, right, that are still at the heads of these companies and making all the decisions. And so that gets reflected in these models as well, right? Like the considerations for minorities or different types of groups are not being considered in these models, and they're becoming very monolithic. So same problem that we've been dealing with also with social media and different technologies, but just AI making it even more exacerbated at this point. So, and in the future. So, where is it headed? You've heard of agents probably by now. The difference with an agent is that it can actually complete tasks for you. And so right now you can go to ChatGPT and say, what's the best restaurant in Miami? Pretty soon you're going to be able to say, make me a reservation at the best restaurant in Miami, right? Buy me the flight tickets. I'm going to send my agent to talk to Alan's agent here at Supreme Landing to set up a meeting for us. Alan and I don't even have to talk. Our agents will handle it, and we just show up, right? So that's like the next step. It's already here, actually. It's just not fully developed yet, but there's a lot of agents already out there. Artificial general intelligence, up until just a few months ago, people were saying it wasn't going to be here until 2040. Now that's being moved up to 2030. And that is AI systems that are actually intelligent. So like I said in the beginning, what we have right now is just mimicking us, right? Artificial general intelligence is when it actually reaches a level that it surpasses human intelligence and can complete pretty much any kind of task autonomously as well. Because with the agents, you still have to give it a prompt and a direction. With AGI, it'll be able to make its own decisions across different contexts and different means. And as I said, it's actually going, when it reaches that level, because it's actually smarter than our own intelligence, which is kind of mind-boggling to think about, but that's what's coming, they say by 2030 or so, depending on which company you listen to, different predictions. And the tech leaders, right, they would all like to believe that what's coming next is a utopia, right? That we're all going to have agents, right, working for us. We're going to chill at home, like we were talking about before, and we're all just going to send our agents to work for us and make money for us. And everything is going to be democratized, right? I don't believe that, right? Like these guys from Meta, from Google, from Facebook, they have an interest in telling everybody that, right? But I'm old enough to remember when the internet was supposed to democratize everything, right? And give everybody access and knowledge, and which it did, right? But it's, poverty is still here, right? Like we still have all the political problems. There's still many diseases, many different problems in the world that the internet didn't solve the way that those tech leaders were selling to everybody that it was going to change the world. So AI is going to change the world? Yes. Is it going to be this utopia that the tech leaders want us to believe? I don't think so, right? Like maybe I'm wrong, but I hope I'm wrong, right? But I don't think that's what's coming down the line. And just to close us out here, some final thoughts, right? Embrace AI or fall behind. And the question that I get asked all the time, right, and we kind of talked about it already, is AI going to take my job? Like I get asked this question multiple times a day, every day, is AI going to take my job? And what I always say is, no. Like AI isn't going to take your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI probably will, right? And so in every job. And so this part of the reason why I do this is educational sessions, because I think it's in everybody's best interest to learn what the tools are and how to use them. Because if, like I said, if you don't, someone will. So do you want to be the person losing the job? Or do you want to be the person retaining the job because you know how to work alongside AI, right? And so that's kind of what I see. I think it's the opportunities are there. The barriers of entry now are lower than ever. If you have an idea with AI working alongside you, you can create it. And so the opportunities are there, but everyone has to take that step, as you guys did today, to actually be interested in learning it. So thank you. Those are the tools that we've seen today. I will take some questions if anybody has them. And as I said, you feel free to email me as well if you want a copy of the presentation. But does anybody have any questions? I know we already. Good memory. All right, let's see. So this is the deep research that we did about businesses around here, right? So Gemini told us all about their process. It gave me a little executive summary about the process, where it looked, how it did it, expanding this. So it had issues with finding 50 businesses around, so it expanded the radius. Filter by business type, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so where's my final? Where? Oh, there we go. So, the first business that it gave us was Supreme Lending, which is right here over here. That's amazing. Catalonia Management. There you go. And I see how, so, and to me, it looks very similar to.
You appear EA elevating computing.
That's my business, yeah. You see it?
It appears in the research.
Where?
Go down. Down. Yes.
Oh my God, you're right. That's a mistake, huh?
Maybe it knows where you are.
Maybe it just knows where I am. That's freaking creepy. And then it went even further and it gave me an analysis by industry type of tools that would be interested for me to present in this workshop. Let's see what else. Personalization. It gave me so many recommendations. Personalization of invitations, workshop outreach, leveraging contact information. So it really, the deep research that it did, it really worked. Right here, look, sources used in the report. It tells me every single source that is searched and look into. So I'm going to use this report to email some businesses later. Any other questions from anybody? Anything? Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody coming. Please take some snacks and some drinks, and I'll be here for a little bit if anybody will chat also. So.